If you've got knee pain and you're not paying attention to your ankle dorsiflexion mobility, then you might be missing one of the key pieces to fixing your knee pain for good. Watch this video to discover how to know if ankle dorsiflexion is contributing to your knee pain, and if it is, unique and effective exercises to quickly improve it. Hello there, Coach E from Precision Movement, and today we've got some precision training for you to improve your ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. You're here because you've got knee pain, and if you've got knee pain, you've probably done some quad exercises, maybe some quad stretches, some hamstring exercises, some hamstring stretches, and probably some hip stuff. But have you considered focusing on your ankles? If not, this is the video for you, because you're going to learn if your ankles are possibly contributing to your knee pain, and if they are, effective and unique exercises to improve that range of motion, this ankle dorsiflexion range of motion that is so important for not just knee pain, but overall body function and performance. If you like our approach, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel by tapping that subscribe button right now. First off, if you don't know what ankle dorsiflexion is, it's the movement where you pull your toes up towards your knees and that angle in the front of your ankle gets smaller. When your foot is planted on the ground and your knee travels over your toes in front of your foot and that angle in the front of your ankle gets smaller, that's also ankle dorsiflexion in the closed chain. So why might we have poor ankle dorsiflexion in the first place? One, if you've had an ankle sprain or chronic ankle sprains, that's been shown in a lot of research to be related to a decreased ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. Two is shoes. One is most of our shoes have what's known as a heel drop, where the heel is higher than the toe. So there's drop from heel to toe. The higher that drop is, the less ankle dorsiflexion range of motion we need in our everyday life. So you ladies who are walking around in stilettos will definitely need the exercises in this video. Now, from my almost 2 decades now of experience coaching people, whenever I see knee pain, I always look at ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. But I wanted to do a bit of research to prepare for this video, so I did a little PubMed search and I found one good article that highlights our overall approach to this issue. The title of the article is "Ankle Dorsiflexion Affects Hip and Knee Biomechanics During Landing." In this study, the researchers looked at subjects on a landing from a jump, and they correlated ankle dorsiflexion range of motion with other parameters at the hip and the knee. And they found that those with decreased ankle dorsiflexion range of motion have stiffer landings on a jump, and also compensatory motions that are exhibited as foot and ankle pronation, knee abduction, that's the knee caving in, or hip adduction. And this pattern is known as valgus. Now, this study really highlights why I wanted to make this video for you, to address this important range of motion for knee pain, because we have a previous video on ankle dorsiflexion that's very, very popular and it's helped a lot of people, but it doesn't specifically target knee pain. And the exercises that we choose when we're looking at a range of motion in the situation where somebody has pain at the knees are a little bit different than just a general recommendation to improve ankle dorsiflexion. That's why we're called Precision Movement, because we want to be as precise as possible to help you get the best results you can as quickly as you can. So how do you know if you need to work on your ankle dorsiflexion and if it's possibly contributing to your knee pain? Well, there are a couple of things that we can do. The first is what I call the wall test. I'm going to take you over here and we're going to go right through it. For this test, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One, the simplest way is to use your hand as the measure between your toe and the wall. So that's how far my toe is from the wall. And you're taking a half kneeling position, half kneeling stance. Foot has to stay flat on the ground, so the heel can't pop up. From here, you're driving the knee straight forward. And if you can touch the wall, you're good to go. Your ankle dorsiflexion is not an issue. But if you can't touch the wall and you're looking like that and you're struggling and any further is popping that heel off the ground, then it's likely that you need to work on your ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. In this test, it's really good because you can see the difference between left and right. And if you've got one problematic knee, then there's a good chance that you're lacking dorsiflexion on that side. I had a client who came in recently who had exactly this, and the difference between the two sides was about 1.5 inches. So this is a good test, not only to see one side's gross range of motion, but a comparison between left and right. The second way that you can kind of think about your ankle dorsiflexion range of motion, and not just isolated dorsiflexion, but your overall movement patterning, is to consider if you have valgus knee. So valgus knee is basically if you're standing on one leg and you squat, your knee caves in, or your foot has to turn out for you to go down at all. So if you could just do a single leg squat and just notice, is my knee totally caving in and my hips kind of rotating and my butt's shooting out to the side? That's a good sign that your dorsiflexion is lacking, because that is a common compensatory movement pattern for people who have a lack of dorsiflexion range of motion. That's that overpronation where the foot flattens out, the foot everts, so the bottom of the foot turns up, so you get flat foot, and your knee caves in and the hip shoots out on that side. So if you have that movement pattern, then ankle dorsiflexion is definitely something you want to work on, and the exercises we're about to go through will help tremendously. Let's dive right into the exercises now, and we're going to start off with the bottom of the feet, working those intrinsic foot muscles. And this is an exercise that I've shared a lot here on YouTube for various other issues. It's such a fundamental technique. We call it the short and skinny foot. For this exercise, you got to do it in bare feet, and slightly soft ground like a yoga mat is perfect for this. You start off with a little bit of weight on this foot. So you're in the standing position, got a little bit more weight on this front foot here, and you're trying to do two things. One is make the foot short by pulling the front of the foot toward the heel, so the forefoot toward the heel, and two is make it skinny. You're making it skinny right across the metatarsals here, and by doing so, you're activating the deep intrinsic foot muscles. So when you do this, you can start off, it sometimes helps to spread your toes out. And I gotta get to my pedicurist. Just kidding, I cut my own damn toenails. So spread out the toes first with your fingers if you need to, or you can just do it if you've already got good control of your feet. Just do it on your own with the toes. From here, you make the foot short and you make the foot skinny, keeping a little bit of weight on that front foot, and you hold it. And when you first learn this exercise, just hold it for a long time and see what that feels like. You might feel some cramping, you might feel nothing. And then you gradually let it go. Right now, don't worry about specific sets and reps. We're going to cover that later. I just want you to master the technique and understand the cues. So that's the short and skinny foot. And this technique is critical for the 3 techniques that are going to come after this, but don't not do the 3 techniques after this if you don't get the short and skinny foot, because they're going to help you to improve your short and skinny foot if you're having trouble with it right off the get-go. The second exercise is the ankle dorsiflexion mobilization. For this exercise, you'll need a strength band or some kind of resistance band that's set up and anchored down low. You can see mine here is anchored on my squat rack. And then you'll need some sturdy surface to step onto that's at least 1 inch high off the ground. For this technique, you're going to step in so that the band is pulling your foot backwards, and you're going to get a little bit of tension, and you want the band right in the front of your ankle there. From here, again, I'm going to put a little more weight up on my front foot and keeping my lower body completely aligned, so my knee is straight, my hip is straight. I'm going to get that short and skinny foot going if I can, get that active arch, whatever you can do, just your intention is important here, even if you don't feel like it's working well. And from here, you're just going to drive the knee forward as far as you can, keeping the heel on the ground, keeping alignment with your leg so your thigh points in the same direction as your foot, which is straight ahead. You're holding that for 2 seconds, and then you step back out of it and relax everything. And then short and skinny foot again. Drive forward, keep that heel planted to the ground, keep the thigh pointing straight ahead just like the foot is. Hold it for a couple seconds and back off and relax. This exercise is great and it can make a really immediate effect if you've got a little bit of stuckness in between the tibia and what's known as the talus. Those two bones meet, and that's where your ankle articulates. That's where most of the dorsiflexion range of motion comes from. So sometimes that talus, the bone on the bottom, can get positioned slightly forward, slightly anteriorly, and this pushes that bone back, creating space for the tibia to roll over and forwards over top of the foot. So this technique can be really, really dramatic in terms of its effect if you're suffering from a bone, an ankle joint that needs that specific mobilization. But even if you're not, this is still a great technique to improve your ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. The third exercise we're going to go through is what I'm calling the precision movement, or PM clamshell. And the reason why I'm branding it is because I've had a lot of people come in here who have done the clamshell in physio or other rehab before, and when I get them to show me what they're doing and what they're thinking about, they're not thinking about much. There's very little cueing and very little thought going into the exercise. So you're going to see the difference here if you've done the clamshell before. You need a wall for this, and other than that, just your body and these tips. So start off with your shoulder just touching the wall. From there, put your feet close together. So your feet are touching and your feet are pointing straight ahead. Stand in good posture. Whenever we get an opportunity to stand in good posture, we do it. From here, short and skinny foot on the foot that is farthest from the wall. So short and skinny foot, so get that active arch going. And if you can't get it going well, have that intention. From there, you're going to squat down to about a quarter squat position. Bring your opposite leg back and your arm that's on the wall forwards in this position here. Now, from here, because we're working on dorsiflexion, we're gonna drive the knee as far forward as possible, keeping the heel flat on the ground. And once you're in this position, you're gonna drive the knee out a little bit, activate the hip, and try to push your body into the wall, maintaining the short and skinny foot, the heel flat on the ground, and good posture. Hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, and from there, keep that activation and stand right up out of it. And then you can come off it, shake it out a little bit, and do it again. And I'm going to walk you through another rep. So first things first, short and skinny foot. Get that active arch going, and then other leg against the wall, knees slightly bent and behind you, and then this arm in front, keeping good posture. You're getting into about a quarter squat position. Now you can go lower if you want, especially if you need dorsiflexion in a lower position, but quarter squat is good for most people. Get that knee as far forward as possible. Heel stays flat on the ground, and then drive into the wall, push your body into the wall. Feel that hip fire up here. And it's going to be work, you'll see. Breathe, maintain good posture, breathe naturally. And then stand up out of that quarter squat position. That's why we call it the PM clamshell. The fourth and final exercise is one that I'm going to rebrand precision movement style here because, again, as you'll see if you've done it, it's going to be a lot more technical than what you've probably been taught in the past. And this is the PM reverse lunge. For this exercise, we're going to alternate sides. This is always a common question I get. So when you do the reverse lunge, you're stepping back, and I want you to bring that back knee as close to the ground as you can. You stand up, and then you switch sides. Now here's what you've got to focus on. First, we're getting that short and skinny foot integrated again. So short and skinny foot, I'm going to put it on my left side here because I'm going to step first back with my right leg. From here, I'm stepping back, making sure I'm extended through the hips, and I'm going to try to get the knee as far forward as possible, keeping the heel flat on the ground, maintaining good posture and making sure the thigh is pointing straight ahead and not shooting out or in any direction. From here, I'm going to think of pulling myself up with the front foot so I can even slide forward a little bit and just slide the toe forward on the ground. And then go to your parallel stance and switch sides. Short and skinny foot on this side now, on the right side, and I'm going to do the same thing. Stepping back, maintaining good posture, not letting my hips shoot out, keeping everything straight forward here, getting the knee as far forward over the foot as possible with the heel flat. Don't let that heel pop up, because then you'll lose that short and skinny foot. Then you're standing up and pulling myself forward, sliding forward with the trailing leg. So this is the PM reverse lunge. It's a lot more technical. There's more cues going on, but when you do it this way, you're going to recreate this movement pattern, which is so important and so ubiquitous in everyday life. Every time you go upstairs, you're using a version of this exercise. So if we can incorporate the foot, get that good ankle dorsiflexion range of motion, and maintain good posture, and when you pull yourself forward, you're getting glutes, you're getting hamstrings active, which is going to further take off stress from the knees. Because when we've got the glutes on, we've got the hamstrings on, we have less shearing at the knees and less pressure on that kneecap, which is where a lot of the pain will be focused around, whether it's quadriceps tendon or patellar tendon or the cartilage underneath the patella. The kneecap takes a beating when we don't have good alignment, good range of motion in the other joints, in the foot and the ankle and the hip. So that's why your poor ankle dorsiflexion will wreck your knees. And if you've got poor dorsiflexion and good knees, no knee pain, you should do the exercises here to prevent knee pain from happening in the future. To summarize this routine and give you sets and reps to do, we started off with a short and skinny foot. For this exercise, do 1 to 2 sets of 3 to 5 reps, holding each for about 10 seconds. Next, we did the ankle dorsiflexion mob, which you should do for 1 set of 10 reps, holding at the end for 2 seconds. We moved to the precision movement clamshell. For this technique, do 2 to 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps, holding each activation for 5 seconds. And finally, we finished off with the precision movement reverse lunge. For this, do 2 to 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps on each side. And if you're doing this well, feel free to add some weight by holding dumbbells. What'd you think of that video? If you liked it, let us know. Leave us a comment, hit the like button. You know to subscribe already. And check out some of these other videos that I've got that will really help if you're dealing with knee pain. The first is on the VMO, and this can quickly decrease your pain from before to after doing the exercises. The second on is hip internal rotation. So now we're moving up to the hip to deal with your knee pain. And finally, if you just want me to guide you step by step through 40 plus exercises in multiple phases, grab the knee pain solution, which is going to be linked right here.